how's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have a familiar face with us. If you've been with the channel for a long time, he can say his name, what he does, and where he's been.
How's everyone doing? My name's Tyler Lewandowski, but most people just know me as Tyler and not my long Polish last name. Uh, I do a lot. I work on music. I don't know how else to explain it. I put out some music. I work on music. Sometimes I try to work on working towards working with others on music at some point. But right now I'm just doing everything for my own enjoyment, and I'm loving it.
There we go.
Can't complain.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if you aren't familiar with the channel, Tyler was in a band called Moral Support here in the area, which is really cool because I want to talk about that a little bit because
Yeah,
I very
of course.
rarely have a band that has disbanded per se, and I've had their new whatever their new project is on.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first time after that interview had went live, and you're just like, dude, I was so nervous doing this interview.
Oh, I
all that
was.
sort of stuff. And we had Evan, which was veteran
Who
interviewer.
wasn't even technically in the band then at that point.
Oh, he
We were
wasn't?
just like,
Okay.
no. Literally, that band at that moment, the only solid member was me because I was like, I want to start a band. Like, I just want to be in a band. I wanted to do music. I saw all my friends doing it, and I was like, I need to do this. And that's when Evan helped me write the stuff. So he was like the first one that was like, I'll play the first show. Why not? And then everyone else kind of just was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then people left, people came, and then we had our lineup.
Which is ironic because in current time now, not when this goes out, I'll be interviewing Jeff on Sunday. So I just feel like
Really?
it's kind
Awesome.
it's kind of like everything, every Moral Support member. Eric, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome to.
I love it.
But I just think it's kind of strange to me because I know you from in past tense, but obviously we've remained friends over this time.
Yeah.
But I guess what was the thing where you were like, okay, well, I feel like a lot of people don't really know what happened with the band, why the band, I guess, disbanded or anything. And not to say if you wanted to talk about it or not, but I felt for myself, I was like, you had all of these things going for you and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, this is sick. They're gonna be doing some big tours. I was like, you guys played the local date of Warped Tour and all that sort of stuff, and I was just like, wow.
We played Boston too.
And you played Boston too, which was really tight. And I was just like, man, these guys are gonna be, they're gonna be up there with a lot of metalcore bands. I'm gonna be seeing them on tour bills, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I interviewed them when they had no one, so that's kind of tight. But I guess what happened, because I don't even feel like I know the true answer to that either.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, really what happened, it was just kind of everyone was I think we were all kind of just in different spaces.
Sure.
We finished, we did Warped, and it was awesome. It was really cool. We got that experience, every experience that we had as a band, and whether it was just in practice or just hanging out, or playing shows or driving to shows. We never actually all drove to a show together because we didn't have a van. Dude, it's so funny. We were such a new band.
Yeah.
And stuff happened and it was cool, but we never made it to tour bus. We never, not tour bus, obviously, obviously
but
not.
Tour van or anything.
Tour van. We literally all drove. I drove my mom's minivan with all the equipment and one person in it, and then somebody took 2 cars and then Seth drove separate or something, or somebody always drove separate because they had to leave at some point through the night. That's just how it was. And yeah, dude, we had a song. I don't know if you saw us when we played the song live, but we had a song that we were gonna we had to be put out. It's still on my computer. On my old computer.
I don't think I have it. I think it was I think it was I don't even remember what the last show you guys played, but the last one I can remember distinctly was that Warped Tour date. That was the last one I can remember when you guys played Camden.
Yeah. I think we opened with our normal opening for that because we were always bouncing if from our normal opening to just hitting it with this song.
Yeah.
And that song was very I guess it would be like more like architects, like very techy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like to be honest, like I think it was like I really didn't know what I wanted with the band
Sure.
anymore. Like I knew we didn't want to do what we were just like still doing. Like that EP, dude, that EP is still like special to me. Like
Sure. Yeah.
me and Evan wrote that. Like half of it was in my house, like and just like sitting in my room trying to like write something, and then half of it was like at his house. Like we just like wrote that EP not knowing what
What was gonna
anything was
happen?
going to come of it. Yeah, and like that was the I think that was the really cool fun part of that record and that EP. And when and then like we did the cover. That was
Yeah.
cool.
The
Like we
cover.
had
Yeah.
fun with that. I also like I don't really care. I don't play in the scene anymore. Like I didn't want to like turn into Our Last Night. I wouldn't have cared either way. You know me. Like I didn't want to like we weren't planning on it, but like at all. But like I didn't want to like be that Our Last Night cover band. Like
Sure. Yeah.
that's just not where I wanted to go with it. And yeah, I don't know. And I wasn't. I'm dude. I'm not like a techie musician to begin with. I grew up listening to not heavy music also. Like that, so that was a big thing for me, dude. And I had fun. I had a lot of fun with it. But basically we had a conversation. And it just kind of we were like, what do we want to do with this? And certain people didn't want to be in it anymore. And I originally was going to keep the band going
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
change it up and do whatever. And then I kind of sat on it a little bit, and I was just like, I don't that like what we did as a band was so special to me. I could see if like one person was like, all right, I'm done, and then like you fill the next spot, and like I mean, Counterparts is one of my favorite heavy bands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I like and that band is a revolving door. People still leave and they and like come back and get new members, and like not really what I wanted to do. I wasn't that sold on the heavy scene in general to keep it going. I knew I wanted to do other stuff in the long run too. I
Yeah.
always saw us. I always look for the bigger picture,
Sure.
and I don't like. I'm not saying like I'm like oh, I don't focus on the now, but like I'm when I even write a song now, I write it because I want it to be played to a crowd. I want it to be played out. I want it, even if it's like a more electronic song. I
Mm-hmm.
want that song to be responsive to an audience, like the audience to be responsive to it, and just if it's a big part, I want people to enjoy themselves. That's what I love about music. People can go to a show and just enjoy themselves. People can go to a festival. People can go to whatever, like an
Yeah.
EDM show, like whatever they want to do. The music, a heavy show, a folk show. I've been to like indie folk shows, and they went harder than some heavy shows did that I've been to. I saw the Districts. They're indie like folk band from they're not as folk anymore, but I saw them at what is that venue near Drexel that not a lot of bands play?
Oh man, I know. Is it
World Cafe.
Well, yeah, World Cafe Live. Yeah.
I saw them downstairs at like a fundraiser for incarcerated youth, and people were losing their minds, like going nuts, like full blown moshing, and the venue had no clue what was going on because they don't really get heavy shows, and like the
Yeah.
security guards were like pulling kids everywhere. It was awesome, and I love when people can enjoy music, and that's what I mean. Yeah, I don't know. I always work on stuff for that reason, and I always had that idea of like, well, eventually, because I mean, I look at like some of my favorite bands that were heavy. I mean, I love Bring Me the Horizon. I don't care about anything that like I don't care what other people are saying right now. Like they're doing such cool things
Oh yeah.
that no one else has even touched yet, and whether it's going to be a poppy song, whether it's going to be a heavy song, like the whole like Ollie scream thing, like dude,
Yeah.
I can never actually scream. That was like biggest fake in the book, dude. I just yelled really hard, and
That's
after
probably
shows,
not great.
no, no. but I had fun doing it,
Sure.
and but like that, like he still screamed better than like most people. Like I don't know. It's just like I don't know if it's like a preference thing for me, but like that was always a big thing for me. I wanted like a bigger picture at some point.
No,
Um,
I respect that because like for me like I was kind of looking at it from because I think I had met you through Dave or Evan or both
yeah.
of them, and I was more curious because like you're saying like you're like, oh, I'm like a fan of music, all this sort of stuff, and I feel like you are because you know I feel like whatever shows I see you go at or whatever is pretty eclectic, especially considering it more now because I feel and we even
Yeah.
talked about it a little off camera. But I guess what would be the I guess my thing was that I was trying to ask you was like why did you choose to go like the heavy route initially? Like why did you feel like, oh, I need to be in this heavy band to do this heavy stuff first and then be
Um,
like, yeah, I'm gonna switch tracks and now I'm gonna do like some like DJ or like some sort of like electronic stuff or
yeah.
I was just more
So
curious about that because that kind of surprised me as like I was like, okay, if he knows not to say that like, you know, I'm like
yeah.
you're gatekeeped if you're like don't like heavy music, you can't be in here.
Oh
You
yeah.
didn't start out like, you know, in your teenage years and seeing all these sick
Hmm.
bands, but I'm always curious to see how people kind of get into heavy music, especially if it's not something that they're like familiar with, because it's very abrasive. Like if you're
Yeah.
outside of the genre, like you're just like, what is this?
So like definitely when I was younger, in my like middle school years, middle school to early high school, I did like heavy music, but
Okay.
it wasn't like this metalcore
Yeah, metalcore heavy.
style.
Yeah, I got you.
Like I enjoyed some Slipknot. I enjoyed Toxicity.
Fair.
That
Yeah,
album,
System of a
System of a
Down.
Down,
Yeah.
is that album's one of my like favorite albums. At Nickelback. No, I'm just kidding. I
Oh
do like
boy.
Nickelback. I have no problem with
They
Nickelback.
get a lot of shit. I'll agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's just like there was so many. There was like that stuff, like Disturbed. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
played Guitar Hero 3. That kind of
Yeah,
helped.
I got you. Down with the
I mean,
sickness.
like
Yeah. Okay, I got
exactly,
you. I
dude.
got you. I got you.
Um, I think 3 was Stricken, and I remember hearing that.
Oh, it was stricken. It wasn't down with the sickness. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Da,
Yeah,
da, da, da,
yeah.
da,
I
yeah.
remember hearing that riff and just being like, "Yo, this is cool."
And then
Oh, like,
Slipknot was also on it. I think it was Before I
yeah.
Forget, which
Before I
is
forget, yeah.
off of Volume 3, I'm pretty sure. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I know what you
Um,
mean.
and yeah, I just like I always thought it was like kind of cool. I mean, it was like the next step. It was for me. I know a lot of people are like this, but like the first step was AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, and
Sure,
then
yeah.
that was like my next step. And then honestly, I went to Warped in 2013 because my friend was like, "You gotta go to this," and that was when I was like not really, but like a high school band
I
with
got you.
Dan Chapman.
Dan Chapman. Shout out to
And
Dan. Love Dan.
yeah, love Dan. And we were like, we did that whole thing, but not really. Like it was just like we jammed. It was cool. It was fun. And we, so like I went with Dan and a couple other people and my one friend who was like, you got to go to Warped Tour. I was like, okay, cool. And I remember before, like I listened to um I think it's the first Hands Like Houses record.
Yes, Ground Dweller.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was also the time of Challenger by Memphis Mayfield.
Ooh,
That
yeah.
album.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember this is a real thing. And if you ever see Dan, you could ask him about it because we talked about it at Warped. We were watching Hands Like Houses, and I said, one day we're both going to play this stage. And
Yeah.
we did because it was the Ernie Ball stage, where like the Full Sail, but like
Yeah,
it
yeah. I
was
knew
the
it was the
same
same
thing.
stage, yeah.
And he goes, I don't know, dude, maybe. Like, and I was like, no, I'm like,
That's
I
serious.
have it in my mind, like, and we did. I was in different bands, but we both did, and it was cool. Like, he was like, dude, do you remember when you talked to me? I was like, yeah. I was like, I always remember that. And I just like saw like them having a good time up there, and then like trying to think. Oh, that I think. Oh, I liked. What is it? Let's Cheers to This, the Sleeping with
Oh,
Sirens
Sleeping with
record.
Sirens. Yeah, Sleeping with
Yeah.
Sirens. Yeah.
I liked that record a lot. Um, and I remember like seeing like uh maybe it was Memphis Mayfire. Like I was in the pit for Memphis Mayfire. I
Okay.
like
Yeah.
not in the pit, like I wasn't pitting, like I wasn't going around moshing. I was just like on the edge,
Just
and
watching.
like it's yes, and it's so funny, like because like I just didn't really get it yet,
I got
and
you.
like and like I remember like Matty Mullins came out and was just like all right, and like and I was just like oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, and then like going back like now, like and then I watched an interview. I'm a big interview guy. I love interviews and finding everything out about bands.
Yeah.
Too
Same.
much, like too much about bands. Um, and like I didn't realize like his voice was very high pitched,
Yeah.
and he brought it down for screams, and it just was very interesting to me, like all that stuff. And I was just like, oh, like it would be cool um, to be in a band like this at some point. But that was like a thought in the back of my head. It
Sure.
wasn't really, it didn't really happen. And then when me and Evan, I just told Evan I wanted to write music. And Evan would always get so mad at me, and I don't blame him. I would get mad at myself too if I was recording someone and that happened, because I think I changed genres like 5 times, like on him, and
Oof.
they weren't good like changes. Like they weren't like, oh, I want to play post-hardcore instead of metalcore. Like it was like I want to write like this folk album. Now let's write. Now let's do like a more like heavy album. And he was like, you have to like stay with one.
You have
And
to
I was
stay in your
like,
lane. Yeah.
and I went to Warped that next year,
Okay.
the year after that, that year when we were working on stuff, and it's so funny. Like I feel like Warped for me was like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like a weird thing. I know there's so much bigger stuff out there, but like where what I was trying to achieve, like I wanted to play Warped Tour, and I really really and like when they said it was the last year, dude, I would
You
have
tried. You were
never.
just like, let's
Yeah,
go for it. Yeah.
but honestly, I would have never thought that that was going to happen.
Fair.
I
Yeah.
really, I did not go, this is it, we're playing it. Like, I was like, it would have been really cool to play Warped Tour. I'm really bummed that it's not going to happen now. And, like, I remember Evan was like, I asked Evan to go with me. Like, I was like, do you want to go with me and Dave? I think it was just me and Dave that went, and a couple of our other friends.
Yeah. Sure.
And Evan was like, nah, like, I'll go to Warped Tour when I play Warped Tour. So that was Evan's first time going to Warped Tour.
Was that he played it? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think Jeff too, maybe. I think Seth and Eric both went already. Yeah, and then I was like, all right. And coincidentally, this is before we wrote Complexity. I still do sometimes, well, not right now, but I go and get CDs from, we have an FYE still in our mall.
Oh shit. Okay. Tight.
And yeah, so I'll like go and pick up a record every so often that I like, or an old record that I haven't really listened to, and just put it in my rotation of my car. And I picked up because it said AP contender for AP album of the year, and it was Aggressive. It was like the Beartooth record,
Ooh.
Aggressive. And me and Dave were like getting ready to go, and like we're like in the car, and I was like, yeah, I bought this Beartooth record. Don't know what this is like really sounds like. They're not playing, but like figured this would be good. Like
Yeah.
it says it has a high rating in AP.
So it's
had
gotta
no
be
clue.
good.
Yeah, I had no clue. Like that's literally how it was. And I just went and I was like, all right, like let's put it in. And then just like that beginning riff, and then just his rip of a scream, I was like, I just looked at Dave and I went, like I was like, let's go. And then lo and behold, I was a great day at Warped. And then I did like a thing with Bradley Walden. Like I did like one of those. I signed up just out of the blue with to do one of those like learn from
Vocal
someone
lessons
for
or
a little bit.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we didn't do a vocal lesson. Like we just sat there and talked, and he tried to sell me on vocal lessons, and I did like two. Um, and yeah, and then I stopped doing them. I don't know.
Oh
That's a
man.
whole other story. I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't care. Whatever. And we opened for him, and then I emailed him, and I was like, "Hey, I took some lessons from you. Thanks for letting us open." And he never emailed me back. Cool guy. What a cool guy. And he thanked us. He like thanked us in like right in front of like I've been on camera with him like multiple times, like doing a lesson. Yeah, it was cool. Whatever. I don't care. Uh, and but yeah, I mean, it was just a cool day in general, and I just was like, I got to do this. Like, I gotta do something like this. I want to do it. Like, resparked a flame from that like 2013 year.
Yeah.
And then I went the next year, and it was funny. That was I think Movements and Knocked Loose played Full Sail that year.
Yes, I think they did. Yeah.
And I remember Movements was I was super into Movements then.
Yeah. Same.
And they were walking the line, and I had Dave take a picture, and I was like, it would be cool to play next year, like with them if they got on it. Like that happened, and like I stood and watched. Pat was like right there. I was watching Varials. Like he was like standing like right next to me. Like I was like, this is cool. This is weird. And like it's just stuff like that like you think about. I don't think about these things every day. Like when people talk to me about it, people still like the band. People still listen to the band.
I still like the band.
Thank you. And like I do too. Like I like listen back to some of my lyrics and I'm like, what was I saying? But like that's anything you do.
Sure. Yeah.
I listened back to the two singles I just put out a little bit ago, and I was like, dude, what were these lyrics? Like, and it's like I honestly, it like sometimes when you are a vocalist and you don't like you're trying to do other stuff, you don't want to be a vocalist anymore. That wasn't a thing when Moral Sport was happening, but I definitely after was like, I don't know if I want to sing anymore. I don't know if I really want to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is like a segue. Like I could segue here.
Yeah.
What do you? I don't know, but like that kind of like led me to like start making music on my own. And I was working. The whole band. Oh, Seth moved back to Boston, but we still talk every so often.
Yeah. I talked to Seth. Shout out to Seth. Seth, I'm pretty sure you'll watch this. So hello, Seth.
Yeah. But like we still see each other.
Yeah.
Like
I know you do. I know you do.
No one like hates each other.
I didn't even mean it in like that sense. I meant it more like
I know.
Because I know you guys so well, and it's very I wouldn't say it's very rare. There is very few times where I'll have a band on and I'll know them well enough. Like I've known you guys basically from like day one, like when you guys had hopped onto that shit, and then all the way to the end, pretty much. And so for me, it was kind of interesting to kind of see you guys like. I don't even want to say disappear because I've because I know you, I know Evan, I know Eric, I know Jeff, I know all of you guys, Seth, and so it for me was tough to see because I was just like hoping for new stuff, and I remember messaging Evan one day and I was like, what's Moral Support doing? I was like, I haven't seen you guys post anything for a while. And then he sends me a text and he's like, dude, we're not doing anything anymore. And I'm just like, what?
I think our Instagram says we're not a band anymore. Stop asking us to play shows.
That's what it was.
Because like we were consistently getting hit up like, hey, you guys want to hop on this show? And I was like, I would just message them and be like, do you guys read? Like if I was gonna hit up a band, like I'm not gonna mass hit. Yeah, I would read and be like, "Oh, you guys aren't a band anymore." And also, why would like we're not gonna play like a Philly show and a Jersey show, not Jersey, like Philly and like Champs.
I got
like,
you, yeah, Champs.
Like in like 2 days, like we don't have that kind of pull. I don't know.
I like to me it was kind of like And again, seeing it kind of from the outside, it felt like kind of like that like shooting star moment. Like you see them kind of like go through these like changes. Like obviously
Hmm.
seeing you guys jump from like literally no obscurity to playing like full sail stage on Warped Tour,
Yeah.
and a lot of people. I felt like there was a decent amount of people there, and to me that was really cool to kind of see that. And obviously, again,
Yeah.
I still love all the stuff. I still love the review, and I still love the record. And I'm not just saying that because you're on here. It's just like, to me, it was
Yeah.
just kind
Thank
of
you, man.
like, it's kind of like that interesting glimpse into seeing a band and then seeing like other people kind of like form off that and do different things. Because I don't think I've
Hmm.
ever had that opportunity where I've interviewed a band and stuff has happened and then they're not a band anymore, and then they all kind of like they're all like doing their own different things. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's really impressive to you guys, and just obviously still doing what you do. But when was
Thanks.
the point when you were like, I want to do this music solo, like I want to do, because I know you had like a portion of time where you're like doing rap stuff, and then
Yeah.
you kind of changed a little bit more, and then you're doing now like this more DJ kind of style thing. So
Yeah.
I guess what was the transition between like rap and doing that sort of stuff, and then when you were like, I don't know if I don't know if I'm feeling the rap thing, and then jumping into more of the like, oh, I'm gonna do like kind of like a DJ kind of electronic, set thing.
Well, um, I'm still rapping.
Oh, are you?
Um,
Okay,
yeah.
excuse me.
I have.
Well, the past couple of
I
tracks have not
No, I
been
know. No, no,
rap,
I know.
so I don't
I
want to call you
I've been.
out, but
No, you're good. You're good. I so a lot of those, like, I got I could just show you, honestly.
there
It's
you
right
go.
here. I feel like I did this. I got this, and I love this thing.
The
The
pad, yeah.
Machina.
Oh,
Yeah. And I got it for Christmas. Um, and I was like, I kind of like really want one of those. Just so, like, Dave used to have one when we were in high school. Like, no, like freshman year of college, I think,
okay.
for a little while. And I like always thought it was so cool, but like I had really had no clue how to use it, so I was just like, whatever. Um, but I got that, and I was just reason I was making songs with no vocals. I was just trying to figure out some like songs stylistically of what I wanted to make.
Sure, yeah.
And they're still all over the place. I don't really like. I like styles. That's the stupidest thing when people are like, I don't really believe in styles. I totally believe in styles. I really think styles are a thing. I think it's a blending of styles and just kind of writing what you want.
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like a lot of people are, I have to do this. Like I have to sound like this. Like if I'm rapping,
You're like pigeonholed to something,
yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Like if I'm a rapper that also wants to sing, I'm probably like Post Malone right now. Like that's not what I was like. I wasn't going for that, but like there's a lot of people like it's that like mumble rap era,
Yeah, yeah.
and like and not even like mumble, just singing, rapping, and I don't know. I don't hate it. I'm just that's not really like my thing.
Sure.
I personally am not gonna get on a track and sound like Post Malone. My dad listens to Post Malone every day. Like that's like not a joke.
You don't want to be
Like
on your
I'm
dad's playlist. That's what the
no, no,
true
I
truth.
do. That would be cool, I guess. My parents are super supportive all the time with everything, so
I didn't mean
it's
it like that. I just meant like
no,
if
I
you
know,
like
I
popped
know,
up
I know.
next to a Post Malone song and you're like, "Yo, son, this is your track." I'm getting
You're
turned
just
up.
like
Yeah,
going
yeah,
wild.
like he's going like wild on it. Yeah, that's what I
Um,
meant.
but yeah, I mean, I like so much music. I think
Yeah,
what I write changes like almost every day, and that's why I was kind of saying like I've been doing so many different things right now. Like I'm literally just working on like as many things as I want, and that's the beauty of it. And like I originally worked on those first two singles with Evan, and then I recorded them with Jeff. And it was great. It was awesome. I just kind of was like, I'm so lazy. Like I literally laid back and I was like, I need like to change some stuff because I can't like. I realized like I barely knew how to write music. Like I I could write like I could play a little bit of guitar, and I could play chords on a piano, and I had no sense of rhythm. So like drums, like were not a thing. I could ever play. I can't play drums still. That's why I
That's how you
bought
got the
that pad,
pad.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I know how to play in drums. Like I know where drums are supposed to go now. And the reason I was making those songs with like no vocals,
Yeah.
one, I kind of just was like enjoying it, and I didn't have a software. Um, my laptop bit the dust like a little bit ago, so I had to get
Oh.
an I had to get a new laptop, and that was kind of like a big thing because I was like, all right, am I taking this serious or am I not?
Is this is
Because
gonna be fun? Yeah, I got you.
yeah, I was like, because that means I'll either get like a Chromebook or or will I get a new
An
Mac?
actual laptop.
Like
Yeah, laptop.
yeah, and because like I was using like I think I was using like Pirate Logic on my old laptop,
Oof.
um, and but like it was making do for what I
Yeah,
wanted to
sure.
do at the moment. And then I got Machina has its own software, like its own little DAW, and I was like, okay, and that's what I was using. I used like only Machina stuff, like Native Instrument stuff, to make those instrumental tracks.
Oh, nice.
But basically, the way that happens, you can't like subdivide stuff. I'm like sounding annoying right now. I don't talk like this ever. I don't
You
even know
could
what I'm
say you
saying.
could say whatever you want.
Um,
I'm not. I know.
like
I kind of know what you're talking about. Yeah.
you can't. You have to do everything in like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I'm sure you can. I just don't know. I like don't know how to use it that well. And you can't track vocals with it,
Oh,
like because
interesting.
in the
Okay.
software, it's more for just like creating an idea.
Yeah.
Because
And
I
then
can
you
pull
can
that
put then you can
software
put
up
it then you can put it into
in
something
something
else. Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I got at like a month later I got Ableton,
Nice.
um, and I was just like, all right, I don't know how to use this. And for a while I was like kind of just like it was just like a doll that was sitting on my computer that I didn't have any clue how to use, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like I like again like I want to be able to play these instruments I have in my room.
Sure.
Like I'm
Yeah.
not like I and then like I got some set like a little more of a setup, and then I took like a Ableton class online. It was like for normally for $1,000, but you can get it for $20
Yeah.
today.
It's just, yeah. I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm about to lose $20,
It's better
because
than 1,000 though.
yes. Well, I thought like I always think I'm very
Oh,
skeptical
same. Yeah.
about those, and I was like, this isn't gonna be good. And honestly, like I like can confidently use Ableton after the class. Like it was great. I'm
But it's
very
20
happy with
bucks you
it.
spent.
Yeah, and like Jeff recommended it to me. He was like, "Hey, I saw this on Facebook. What do you think? Like you should try it." And like I always trust Jeff with that stuff because he's been doing it for so much longer.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so yeah, I mean, I then started. I basically forced myself. I haven't opened the Machina software as its own software
Yeah.
in a little while since. But yeah, I just kind of was like, I need to limit myself to just this so I learn it. I learned everything separately, and then put it all together. And honestly, I've been really happy with what I've done so far. This has been since like January. I kind of just knew I needed to like make a change.
Yeah.
And I keep making the joke, and I'll just make it again. Like I like took this whole quarantine thing way too early. Like I've been doing it since January. Like all I do is like hang out in my room and work on music. I go to work every so often. I
That's how it's same with me, man.
when I can, and then I spend like a couple hours up here till like midnight, 1 o'clock, and then I'm like, all right, I should probably go to bed to do it all over again. I don't really. I see my friends. I don't now, but like
This is
like
wow. This is taking a dark turn here.
yeah. But like I did like for a little while like I wasn't. I was just working on music almost every day. I was trying to limit myself to every other day because I feel like you go crazy if you just work on
Oh yeah.
stuff 24/7. But yeah, and then I got fast forward a couple of months, and then I've been really taking this time and just like balls to the wall, just as much as I can get done. I'd really like to actually, like, I'm not making a joke, have like an EP out of music. Like maybe just even like a 4 to 5 song EP. Now I'm
Yeah.
not pushing myself. I have no one's like, you need to do this, you need to do that. But like I've produced everything. I've like and like that's the weird part, dude. Like I will say, like when you go to someone like Jeff and you work with Evan, like shout out to them. They are great. And I just was like, I need to try to do this. I need to like try for myself to see if I can do this.
Yeah.
A lot of I always see a lot of artists that I look up to are very they can put together a song. Maybe they work with producers, but at the same time they can produce and they produce for people. Um, but yeah, and then I mean honestly, like a lot of the stuff I've been working on is way more. I'm a big like Dirty Heads fan, so
Okay.
like a little more like hip hop with like guitars and a little reggae and a
Yeah, yeah,
little like whatever. Like I mean, honestly, like I was just talking to my one friend about this because I mean very smart of them to do. They did one live stream that was free, and like they just played a bunch of songs
yeah. Hmm.
of their hits, and then they're going album by album every 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And I looked and it said $10, and I was like, that's crazy. And then I thought about it, and I was like, can't play a show. You can sell as many tickets as you want to this. It's so smart. I mean, obviously, a Dirty Head show for $10. I saw them for free on the beach one time. I jumped in
Yes.
the ocean, and the cops pulled me out. But it was um, like, so I guess I made out better that day.
You did.
Maybe, however you want to think about it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like stuff like that is really cool. But like, I was just listening back to their first record, which I haven't listened to in a while, and I forget that like that record is like Beastie Boys 311. Like
Yeah, it is.
that's like their style has grown so much as artists, and like I don't know, I love them as a band. I've liked that stuff for a very long time. That's like another like hidden one. Like that's like I listen to this with like when I'm just hanging out, chilling out. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, I mean, it's pretty telling when you're in a band and you're trying to keep up with heavy music because you want to write the next best heavy song, as every band does
Yeah.
when they're in a heavy band, and you're trying to like keep up when you're not an avid listener, and your top is like somehow like Dirty Heads and Sublime, like for your end of the year Spotify. Like I listen to music, I want to say like 15 hours of my day. Like I'm always listening to music or
Same.
working
Yeah.
on music. Yeah, so like I mean, I guess that's pretty telling. But like I don't know, dude. Maybe it won't. Maybe there's gonna be 2 songs that sound like that. I have 2 songs, 2 original songs, pretty much done. I have to retrack the vocals. I just got a bunch of new plugins, so I'm taking it day by day. Um, and so I got that stuff, so I'm gonna reamp those a little bit, like revamp those, because
Yeah.
that's a real thing you do in music, reamp.
Yeah,
And I'm
that
not
is true.
doing that.
That's true. Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna say if you're reamping, then you're really taking this shit a little bit more seriously.
yeah. Um, but like just revamping it, some of the stuff, and redoing the vocals. And then I have one cover. I have a cover of
Okay.
"Doing Time" by Sublime. Like I took that song and made it a little more like I took that their original version, and I took Lana Del Rey's cover, which I love, and I kind of like and then I took me and I put myself in the center of it and just kind of like mashed all three together of what they stylistically they'll sound like. And then I'm actually like literally why I'm set up like this. I was like losing track of time and was working on a cover of um, "Easier" by 5 Seconds of Summer,
Oh, nice.
uh,
Okay.
which and I like so the singer of Sublime with Rome, so Rome,
Yeah.
the new singer, he always does these. He doesn't always do them. Dude, I gotta watch how I say things. Like he always does
He always
them.
does them.
He's done like two so far, but they're really cool. And he did Roxanne, like
Oh
Roxanne,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Roxanne. And then he did Blinding Lights, the Weekend song.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
yeah.
and he calls it like he reggae flipped them, so he made them into reggae songs, and
Okay,
it's really cool. So I did that with Easier, and I'm almost done. And that probably will be the first thing that like
comes out.
comes out from this. Yeah. Dude, I'm just having so much fun. Like, I love sitting here and just like goofy laughing to myself when I figure something out.
Well,
Like
that's
when I figure out like
because
the. No, you're good. When I figure out like a lead line, like I'm writing lead guitars again. Like I've actually for the first time ever, not again. That's a lie. Of like for the first time, I'm writing lead guitars in my room, and it's awesome. It's a great time, and I'm like when I get a vocal chop right, like when it sounds cool, I'm just like awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to have those covers and maybe like three or four originals together by the end of whenever this is over.
the
Maybe
quarantine.
summer.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
feel
feel.
like these are very summery style song. Like it's very summery style music. That's when all those bands tour.
Yeah,
They tour during the winter, but it's going to see like a Sublime as their own show in an
in
outside
December.
venue.
Yeah,
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 is such a better feeling than seeing them in like a concert hall.
true.
But yeah,
But no, I feel like again with like what you're talking about and being excited to talk about music and like seeing that and obviously just seeing how much you've been posting about like your stuff, I think it's always impressive to me, and I always try my best when I have bands on and people that I like talk with and people that
yeah,
obviously I know more in person and like have a connection with, that I was just like, you know what, I was like I should and I know we've been talking for like
yeah, yeah.
literal months
Months, dude.
about doing this, and you're just like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready, I don't know if I'm ready.
Yeah,
So I'm glad that things are finally kind of kicking into gear, and like I think it's
thanks,
really
dude.
impressive to me that you're like taking on the task of like learning instruments and learning how to do all this stuff, because like, you know, I mean, not to say that other bands don't do that, but it really impressive to me because I know like you only did the screams for and
Yeah,
singing for like moral support, and to see you go from like I like know a little bit about guitar, I know like a little bit about piano, I like know how to like do some pads and stuff,
hmm,
and to go from that to like really kind of fleshing out tracks and like having stuff out, I think is really impressive to me. And I
thanks,
think it
man.
speaks to all of your like, you know, all of your time that you're dedicating to it, because I feel like, you know, even with what I do, like I feel you when you're just like, when I come home from work, I just go up into my room or whatever and I just start working on stuff like that's, and I think that's really great. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously we can't
thank you,
really
man.
do anything outside currently.
No,
But I feel like it's really cool to see you really, I guess, take the reins on this and do it how you want to do it, because I think it's always impressive to me to have bands on that, you know, like don't, I guess, sugarcoat it. Like, you know, like you could have kept doing the band and I feel like it
yeah,
would have not been great. You know what I mean? And
no,
I'm
I
glad
don't think
that,
it would have.
and I'm glad that you're like doing something you actually enjoy doing, and you're like it just gets you excited to do it. When you're telling me, you're like, yeah, I get like really like giddy happy when like I do this like
Yeah,
one vocal take, or like I got this really cool solo that I put in or whatever. And you know, I think I kind of attribute it to like what I do, where I'm like sitting here at my desk and like editing videos, and I'm like, this shit
yeah,
is hilarious, this, I love this, you know what I mean, like this is
dude. I had
so
to.
cool.
I was doing those like for the instrumental tracks, which I still probably will put out at some like more at some point. I have more. I have like four more, I think. And I can make them in like a day now. So it's great. It's so funny because like when people be like, yeah, like I got like a song done today, and I'm like, I am almost there. I can you normal like I can like write like I'll like sometimes stuff will take me like 2 days like to actually get stuff the right way. Um, but yeah, I mean it's all a journey, and the whole thing is a journey. Music, anything in arts in general.
Yeah.
Oh, but my whole point was with the video thing. I was putting those like looped like free
Yeah, like
videos, like
the stock vids.
stock
Yeah, I
image,
got
yeah,
you. Yeah.
stock vids together. Oh my gosh, I wanted to like, I just wanted to like throw my computer out the window. Video editing is not my thing.
Well,
But
yeah. Well, I'm glad you did enjoy. I'm glad you did enjoy the video editing squad like
yeah,
myself. It's. I can tell you sometimes it's tedious, but I actually enjoy doing it, which I think
yeah, which
surprises
is
a lot of
awesome.
people. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
surprises a
that's
lot of
great.
people because it's like you really just want to sit there and like make sure everything's like synced up right. And I'm like, yeah, that's sick. That's like one of the coolest parts
Yeah,
about doing it. But I guess the next thing, Tyler, is who are you influenced by now? I mean, obviously, I feel like you always have that appreciation for heavy music, and we kind of talked about that a little bit. And
yeah,
obviously, a lot of the people that are mostly subscribed to this channel are interested in like heavier stuff.
yeah.
But I guess who influences you more currently now? Like what I feel like for me, like being an outsider and just being a fan now. Not to
Yeah.
say I wasn't prior to this, but
Yeah,
just
yeah,
in general. Who do you feel like you pull from now? I feel like it's more from like the pop, the like hip hop,
yeah.
that kind of scene of music.
I would say, I mean, for more electronic stuff, I think Diplo's always doing something cool, and like he just put out a country record. I feel like that's like pretty cool.
Oh,
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
even know
It's
that.
like,
That's kind of tight.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think I don't know if it's out yet. Maybe it's out. He put a couple
soonish.
singles out from it. Yeah. And then Marshmello, it like is always very dependable for like that his style. Like it's very like Flume is cool for like
Yeah,
electronic stuff. He just does some like crazy weird stuff. His mixtape album is really cool. And then I don't know for like more of like the reggae rock stuff, reggae rock hip hop, uh, Sublime, like OG Sublime, Sublime with Rome, um, Dirty Heads.
yeah.
This one guy, this one, he's like a little more emerging. He played in another band that was like a little more indie, but this guy Denim. I share a lot of his stuff on Instagram on my stories if you see him. But check him out. He's really good. He's from like the California area.
Oh,
They
sick.
all are.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
lot of them are. Um, I've been listening to a lot of Tropodelic. They're really cool. I actually was listening to their. I heard like one or two songs from them, and then they put out a song with Jared from the Dirty Heads. I think
Interesting.
actually both of them are on it. But they they go and they're like, we're doing a contest that if you pre-save the song, you can win certain stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't realize it was that, and I pre-saved it, and I went back and looked, and it was like FaceTime with the band. And I was like, I don't know any of these songs. I was just being a nice guy and pre-saving. So I like went and listened to a lot of the songs, and it's funny, like I liked them a lot. So I'm trying to think too. Like Bumpin' Uglies is another cool band. A buddy of mine, just like an acquaintance, drums for them and
Oh,
has been
cool.
drumming for them for years. When I went to community college, he was also at the community college, and I was gonna see them the 29th of whatever month this all happened. Like it was literally like
March.
a yes, it's March 29th. I was gonna see them, and that did not happen, but it's okay. I'll see them at some point soon. Um, and then yeah, I would say for influences now, like that kind of stuff. Trying to like at some point, like I'm basically just kind of getting the idea of more like reggae hip hop down. I would say also, and then for hip hop, like I really like the Beastie Boys. I would like
Oh,
to
they're
throw that
great.
in throw that in somewhere at some point. Just like that more like raw style. A lot of this is going to sound more raw too. I don't know if that's going to upset people, but because like from what I came from with like Jeff is like a mastermind with that stuff, like with a mix and master. Like I really would like to do these first couple songs like on my own, so they may sound a little more raw and natural than like I don't like the disclaimer, I don't own autotune, so like I am hashing out these parts like without anything, and I don't know if some people are like, good, that's how it should be, but like most people use auto tune.
Yeah.
Like it's a normal thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like I listen to a lot of these bands' older records, which was the time when they came out. Incubus, I love Incubus. Uh, and like I I listen to these bands and like not everything's perfect. Um, and so that's kind of something that like it's gonna wind up happening. Maybe I'll send them to Jeff and just see what he can do. But like I don't. I also it's another thing. Like I don't. I have to learn how to like take stems out and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a process. It's all a process. So I mean, I would like to just be able to like teach myself. And Jeff's been actually like helping me out like with certain stuff well, like I'll call him and be like, hey, how do you do this? What's a good thing for to use on this? And he's just like, yeah, just do this. And I'm like, all right, cool, that sounds great, thanks. um but yeah, I would say for like some older bands that like I would love to pull from, like Incubus, Beastie Boys, that kind of stuff is really cool to me. um an honorable mention, I just want to say this, because not influenced, but Jeff showed me Dragged Under.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, 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 yeah.
that made me love heavy music again. Like, I know it sounds like I'm like, I hate heavy music. I don't. I really don't. Like, I was just at that Varial show before all this happened, like that tour that they had to like cut short,
Yeah, yeah.
um, with Spite.
Spite, yeah.
Um, And yeah, I was I enjoyed that whole show. That was great. But like, yeah, Dragged Under, when this is over, if they like come around, I would love to see them, because that album that they just put out smacks. It's so good. It's so like it's just sounds great too. Like there's like it just reminds me of like more like more rock, but like also Beartooth, and like not it's not really it doesn't it's not very like metalcore post hardcore to me. It's like way more like rock.
Yeah.
Um,
It's hard rock, basically.
yeah, but yeah, that album, their new album, is very cool.
There we go. Well, I'm glad you're not completely, gone
Yeah,
from the heavy world here. I
no,
feel like I feel like it's I feel like it's always an interesting transition, especially for especially from going from a band that's like doing primarily heavy stuff to going from like to electronic, like where I
yep,
guess where some, and this is probably going to sound really negative, but like were there any people that liked moral support and then were like, yo, what are you doing, Tyler, now? And you're like, oh, I'm doing this solo thing, you should check it out. Do you feel like people were maybe, I don't even want to say disappointed, but like were people really kind of like, I guess, turned away because they're like, oh man, I thought you were gonna do like another heavy project? Or were they all kind of like, Tyler, like, good job, man, you're doing what you want to do, you're doing what you like to do, you should do that? I that's how I felt away
yeah,
that about you. Like I wasn't like, I was like, oh man, yeah, moral support's done, like that's a bummer, but I would really like to just be like, if Tyler's happy with the music that he's creating, like that's what I should be happy with, not because like I want to be selfish and I'm like, yeah, I want another moral
yeah.
support record.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I mean, mostly everyone was pretty supportive. Like, I mean, it doesn't. I also I like am terrible at promoting stuff sometimes. I just don't really like social media. I
Sure.
don't. I don't.
Fair.
I don't like it. I don't like. I hate like that. A like is a validation. Um,
Fair, yeah.
but I mean, you need to do that stuff sometimes.
Well, I
But
mean, if you're gonna do anything in music, unfortunately, that's like the
yep.
thing. And I was telling one of my friends this, and not to cut you off, but like,
No,
I
you're
feel
fine.
like for me, it's like if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably not have like I'd probably only have a Facebook just to keep in contact with like friends and family and stuff like that. But I
Yep.
wouldn't have like I wouldn't go nuts and have like a YouTube channel. I wouldn't have like all this other shit that I feel like most people would be like, oh yeah, you should have like a Twitter or you should have an Instagram or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'd only just have the Facebook just for shit, and I probably wouldn't even like have it on my phone. I'd probably just like
Hmm.
come home and like log in and just like check it out and go from there.
Yep.
I wouldn't go nuts, but since obviously my whole YouTube channel rides on whether or not like I'm posting something or if I'm
Exactly.
sharing something, you know, it can be a lot, and I feel like that's
Hmm.
important to point out, is that like I feel like with a lot of musicians, they feel that way of like, I have to post something or I have to do something so somebody knows like that
Yeah.
Tyler's working on music, or that Brandon's posting a new video on his YouTube channel, like, you know what I mean?
And that's kind of what I've been doing with those. I do a monthly update every month. I do one, and I just kind of was like, this is a great way for myself to look back in the year and then just go, it dude, it's been tough because I was like, all right, let's do it, and then this happened, and I was
Yeah.
like, do I stop doing it? Do people don't care? Like I'm doing the same thing as them. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm getting stuff done. Like I'm working hard.
Yeah.
I like do other stuff besides music. Like I still like work out all the time. I had like made a very big lifestyle switch where I was like, I gotta stop being lazy. Like I want to be healthy. I want to do that kind of stuff. So I post about that stuff, and whether people care or not, like I, that's
Doesn't
fine.
matter.
Like
Yeah.
I don't need people to like, I don't need people to be like, oh, dude, like so inspirational. If I was you, like, no, because you're not me. And then but to go back to what you were saying, like, there was definitely some people that were like, you have no place doing this, and like being like in like just like people like, dude, like literally, there's people like I went to like school with, like, and it's just like going out to like a local place. But that's a problem. Like I'm not like I don't mind talking to people, but I'm like a very like to myself person
I
unless
feel
I
that. Yeah.
am your friend, which I feel like like probably the first time you met me, you probably like I wasn't like super talkative, like I was just kind of like, yeah,
But
yep,
that was cool
uh-huh,
though, because like
yeah,
I didn't feel like, you know, sometimes you feel like if you've met somebody, like especially if they're like setting you up for something, because like I know Evan was like, I was up at the batter's
oh,
box and Evan was like trying to throw the strikes down the middle for me to just like
yeah,
whack out of the park. And
oh
you
yeah,
know, and when, you know, like I said, when we were talking, I was just like, you know what, like I was like, I know Tyler's cool, I know he's like, and I know he's gonna just like be that way, like, you know, obviously I didn't know you to well enough an extent, and I feel like we
yeah,
became better friends once we like
hmm,
hung out, like that first launch conference that I went to.
yes,
And so
lunch
like I
is
feel
always
like
fun.
launch was awesome. Yeah, that was such a great thing. But like I feel like for me, like that's when I started to like learn about you and like and all that stuff. And I just feel like some people like, and even people that like check the channel out and they'll see me in person, like they have this image of me, like,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm not, like, I'm literally not that. Like I had one guy call me like somebody just thought I was like an asshole or something like that, and had never met me. They just watched my YouTube videos, which again, I don't even feel like I come across as an asshole in my videos.
yeah,
So I don't even know where he may have got it from. But I remember him coming up to me and be like, "Are you the guy that runs Audio Addiction?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on, dude?" And he's just like, "Oh, well, I thought actually you weren't even gonna like say hi. You're just gonna be like an asshole." And I was just like, really, dude? And then he's like,
yeah,
yeah, he's like, you know, you're on YouTube, so I thought you were just, he was like, I've never met a YouTuber, so I was just like,
yeah,
okay, but that's like, you shouldn't just assume
yeah.
that
That's
that's
like
how it's gonna
crazy.
be, you know?
That's
So
like it's crazy to me. Like with when you make music, you go and people don't even who don't even listen to it, they just are like, yeah, like I didn't really like it. I'm like, did you listen to it? Like I mean, I understand if you listen to it and you don't like it, but like that's like a kid came up to me like that I went to school with, and like he was like at first, like when I had like the like I had moral support going, like,
yeah.
dude, I like that heavy music you're doing, cool man, like thanks. And then he like would like consistently, like if I was out, like he would like, and he was there, like he would like, dude, yeah, like I see you're playing that Warp Tour. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like he's like, you guys have any extra tickets? I'm like, not for you. Like I can't even get my family in, dude.
Oh
We're
man.
playing in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
uh, and they like, and then when I had like this rap stuff out, they kind he like came up to me and was like, hey man, like what style of music you doing now? And I'm like, whatever I
What I
want.
want, yeah.
Like, yeah, dude, like you don't know me. Like just because we went to school together like years ago, and I run into you at our local watering hole, um, does not mean that like I don't even know what you do. Like like why are you grilling me? Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Do I grill you? And like he was like, yeah, like there's just so much rap out there. Like I just have no time to listen to your music. I said, I don't
Okay.
need your
Who
listen,
cares?
dude.
Yeah.
I said, I don't need your listen. And he was just like, oh, I think you're offended. I was like, dude, get out of my face. Like I'm I'm trying to go pee. Don't like don't do that to me. I just don't understand when people like have these preconceived notions of what your music's going to sound like, because I don't feel like anyone expected the songs to come out how me and Evan put them together. I mean,
Sure.
Hello in itself is like that song is like not even a genre. Like I don't know what it was. Like we just kind of again just put a song together. Defense Mode was a little more like I knew what I kind of wanted to do with
Yeah,
it.
sure, sure.
I knew I wanted to rap faster on it. I knew I wanted to like have more rap on it.
Kind of reminded me a lot of like Yellow Wolf, kind of that
Yeah,
sort of
which
vibe,
was what I was.
which is what we
Yeah,
were vibing at the time.
definitely.
But I don't feel like I feel like with your stuff, like I've, as much as maybe sometimes I might not get like what you're doing currently, just because I'm unfamiliar with it, not just because like I'm like,
Yeah,
oh well, whatever, like I'm not gonna listen to Tyler's stuff because I run this YouTube channel and I'm like, I'm trying to be successful, but I was like. I remember when you had sent it to me and I was like, you know what? I should like actively listen to this, not just to not
yeah,
like bullshit him. I was just like, I should actually sit down, listen to it, tell him what I genuinely think about it, and send and give him like a constructive feedback. Because I feel like
yeah.
sometimes people just like, and I'm sure you've run into it, is like, people will give you this sugar coated answer of like,
Oh,
you're
I
like,
hate it.
oh yeah, like it was great, man. Yeah, I think your vocals were on point, like all this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
And I mean, like, I think there's a way of going about it, like, because I've had people be like, oh, you're too nice about this band, like this record wasn't that great. And I was like, well, you don't think that record's great.
yeah.
I think it's great. So,
You think it
I was like,
is?
you can have that opinion if you don't like it. Like, you know what I mean? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, I feel like people are so ingrained to being like, okay, well, if I'm going to tell you my opinion, that's how it's going to be. Like, you should be taking to what I have to say into consideration. And I'm like, you're
Exactly.
one of like millions of people. And I was just like, if like, 998,000 people like it, and you're like one of the like 2,000, or I don't even know, I'm not going to choose the math,
Yeah.
but like, you get what I'm saying, is that
Uh-huh.
there, you're not going to appease everybody. And I think that's something that I appreciate about what you do, is that like, even if it is something that I'm not familiar with, I could sit back and be like, you know what, that song's not for me, but I will still like support Tyler. I will still support what he does. And I
Thank
was
you.
like, who knows, maybe there might be a track later on that I'll enjoy. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
want to just count it out because I'm just like, I didn't really feel that song. I'm just gonna kind of like not give a shit about his stuff, and I don't even feel like that's how my ethos is as a person anyway. But
Yeah.
I,
For
I,
sure.
I feel like, I think it's important for people to realize that like, even if one song isn't for you, that it shouldn't just completely just like be like, I don't really care about that band anymore. You know what I mean? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like people are so dismissive of like one song or like one album where they're just like, I'm not vibing with this one. I'm just
Yeah,
not
they're
gonna
trying to do
I'm not gonna
something
support
different.
them. Yeah, I'm not gonna support them anymore because it's not what I'm feeling. Like, I'll give an example, like the most current Word Alive record, and I've talked about it in another interview.
Yeah.
I think the record's pretty decent. Like, I think Telly's obviously the larger like role of the record, but I was just like, I was like, and I was honest. I was like, the instrumentals just feel, sterile. They don't feel
Yeah.
like they have that energy behind them. And I'm like, when I see Telly and when I hear him, it's like that visionary thing of like, I know he's like putting his heart into it, and I know a lot of
Oh,
artists in the
exactly.
scene do that. But I was like, I get it. Like, that's what I want to feel, but I also want to feel that with the instrumentals. And I was just like, I may not like this record, but that doesn't mean I'm going to support them any less. That doesn't mean I'm not going to care about this record. It's still a great record. It's just maybe not me.
Exactly. And like I look at it too, like maybe that's their transition record.
Correct.
Maybe those tracks are sterile because that's the only way they know how to write like that style. Like with me, it's like 90% of these songs are probably going to sound very similar when I
Mm.
like because I know the typical like upstroke strum for playing a reggae guitar. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know how to like that was always the thing I struggled with because of rhythm, like that like dun, 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 like and I just could not figure it out, and I finally got it. And I was like, I gotta do this on every track, and like there's just different stuff with everything. Like you learn like maybe this may sound sterile, like when I put these out, and
Hmm.
like and you go and then you hear the next one, you're like, oh cool man, like he played different than just upstroke
Yeah,
guitar,
yeah.
like there's different ways of playing like in the style, and that's just from listening. I feel like if people don't listen to the music that they write, like how are you gonna, or like that you want to write, like if you want to write something, listen to it. It's probably not going to sound. I've noticed this with me. I don't know if it's with other people.
Well,
When you try
I'll
to
give you
write,
my opinion on it then,
yeah,
but it's so.
when you try to sound like somebody else, or you try to write a record in the same style as someone else,
Sure.
you
Yeah.
usually write something that sounds like two albums or an album back. And I don't know
Fair.
why,
Yeah. Okay.
but like I feel like when someone the like Deftones have been a huge influence in music right now because that's what people grew up listening to,
Sure. Yeah.
and that's where they're at in heavier music, like with Loathe, and
Yeah.
like I love that Loathe record. It's
Yeah.
really
Same.
good.
Yeah.
And like, but like you hear certain stuff, and it's not going to sound like the newest Deftones record, because one, like if you liked something off of that, you're gonna pull, and then you're gonna be like, oh well, I don't do stuff the exact same way they do, and you're trying to figure it out, which they were also trying to do a record or two before that
And then
to get that sound.
the band before that they were influenced by was trying to do the
Exactly.
same thing. So I think it's about, and not to cut you off again, it's like I
You're
think
good.
it's important to find that, and this is why I appreciate you as like a musician and just like the stuff you write, is that like you're not afraid to let your influences show, but you're not also afraid to be like, you know what, I write music a certain way, so like I'm going to write how I like to write it. But like, let's
Yeah.
say I'm in a Yellow Wolf mood, like I'm gonna try to emulate
Hmm.
what he does, but keep it in that like Tyler vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of musicians do. And I think that no one is just. No one is original in music. Everybody's influenced by
No.
something and they've taken something from somebody else. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? No one is ever going to be
Exactly.
original. So,
If you wanted to be original, you should have been Mozart, dude.
yeah,
Like
Mozart
Mozart and
should have been
Beethoven.
like
Like that, because if
1860s.
if you think about it, it all goes back to that, and that's. I just sounded so woke.
That we had a breakthrough moment.
Oh, I just sounded so woke. But like I've always thought about that. Like literally, if you wanted to be original, that's when you could have been original. And like everyone pulls from something to get somewhere, and then it all goes back. And like I'm not saying all music comes from Mozart, but like even like with like throwing in, if you look and like go back in any style, there's someone that did it before you, that did it before that did it before the other
Yeah,
person.
of course.
And I just hate when people are like, dude, this is like, I think we're like the first people to do this. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
No, you're not. No one is. I hate to break it to
Exactly.
you, but
Like, yeah, I don't know.
I like that. That was great, Tyler. I think that was. I feel like if
Thanks.
anybody decides to watch this interview, which you definitely should, but I feel like
Yes,
that segment you should definitely. We had the most woke moment of
it was
all
very well.
2020. So, but keeping it
Perfect.
fun, Tyler, because I've had you on before, and I'm not even
Yeah,
sure if you remember any of the questions that I had asked you prior to.
some.
But I will give you,
Okay.
I'll give you an oldie but goodie, but I'll also give you some new
Sure.
ones because I know you
Sure.
got the freshness in here. Um,
Sounds good.
since obviously you're now rocking the solo thing, who would you want to like collab with? Who would you want to like either have produce your record, or like you would want to work with like in the studio as like a guest feature, like whether it be vocally or like just somebody you'd want to have on a
Yeah.
upcoming release?
100%. I want the guys from like one of the guys from Dirty Heads. Like I so badly, like I don't care what it is. Like I just like, even if it's just like a little part, like just like that I'm not expecting it right away. Oh my gosh, I'm not expecting it right away when I put stuff out, but like that would be a very cool thing if they heard it and eventually and were able to get on it. I think it'll happen at some point, but if I keep doing what I'm doing and if I change it up, maybe they still will. I don't know.
Well, you could be like Chance. You could be like Chance the Rapper and make like a
I
post and be
love
like,
Chance.
you could be like,
Yeah.
you could be like. Well, he made like and it's funny because like I said that you mentioned that he made a Twitter post and he was just like, I'm gonna get a Grammy or something like this, and
Yeah.
then like years later he actually did get a Grammy. So I just think you got to put it out in the universe. I always say that all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anything.
But yeah, one of them would be awesome. Just to have them on a track.
There we go. Dirty
Yeah.
Heads. I know you watch this because I know you're a real fan. You're a real hardcore fan, and I appreciate that.
Exactly.
But you should help my boy Tyler out, and also Audio Addiction fam. You know, we got a little bit of clout. You know, I'm just saying we vibing out here. So if you want
There we
to get Tyler to work with Dirty Heads, make sure to go tweet at him when this goes live, especially this time code, so you can let the people know that Tyler really wants to work with Dirty Heads. And I also want to see it. Just being, a supporter. Cool. I want that shit to happen. So, next question, Tyler. Another fun one, a new one that I've been asking for people. What is one album that you wish that you wrote?
Ooh. Let me look real quick.
Ooh,
give me like 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'm seeing like what I've been like really listening to a lot.
You could go with a classic, one that
Yeah.
you're vibing with. Just remember, it's on the internet forever now.
I know. That's true. Morning View by Incubus.
Ooh.
Probably. Yeah. I've been listening to that record so much. I just like, I'm like, I hear, like, I don't know. It's just a good.
It's such a great record. Yeah, I can agree. How would you tier out? I know you're an Incubus fan, so how would you tier out their records? Do you feel like you have a tier list for Incubus?
No.
You don't? I like how you were just like, nah.
No.
You can't.
No, I can't. I like them. I like a lot of. Yeah, I like them all.
I wanted to put you on the spot, but you completely curved me. That was the.
I'm a terrible on the spot person.
That was I took the largest L. This was my biggest L I think I've taken in an interview. So I've never had an interviewee curve me in an interview. So
I apologize.
It's okay.
There's a first for everything.
It was first for everything, and I'm glad it was done by you, Tyler, because we know each other pretty well.
Perfect.
Anyway, next question. Obviously you've been playing a bunch of instruments as of recently. But what would be one that you would like to add into, like, to master? What would be another cool instrument?
Drums. I think I said that in my last one too.
I think you did say drums.
Yeah.
We'll have to go flashback. Brandon will put it.
Yeah. I think drums are very cool. One of my favorite moments, like when I'm at a concert and it's just like just drums.
Oh, like a drum solo.
Like no, not even a drum solo. Like drums and vocals. Like it's a part where it's just like.
Oh, and then some guys like like that. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Oh, I love a drum. I know this sounds very corny, but that Bohemian Rhapsody movie, the movie where when they're doing Another One Bites the Dust.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like. And like he's just like they're getting the song together. I love that scene just because like it's just he's so like intent on the drums. Like and I just so
it's great. That's a great scene. I do recommend seeing it if you are a fan of Queen. But if not, if you're just a fan of music movies, I would highly recommend that one too. But I have another new question for you, Tyler.
All right.
I know you're no longer in a band, but if you were to compile a musical supergroup, who would be in your band?
Ooh, Evan, Jeff.
Oh come on! Don't give that cop out answer. I know you got it. I know you got it.
I I wish I like knew people's names.
Just say the band. Just say the band. I'll be fine with
Like
that.
yeah.
No, everybody knows their names.
I would love to be in a band where I played guitar, like
Interesting.
with people, like because
Okay.
like I can't play guitar that well. I can play
Okay.
guitar enough, but like I'd play guitar. Um,
Okay.
I would want the um the the one guitar player. This is going to be such a weird group, and it's not going to
It's
sound like a
okay.
real
It's
band.
gonna sound sick.
Um,
I'm
the
excited.
one the one guitar player of Loathe that always looks like so cool. He's like
They
the
both look cool. If we're
yeah,
gonna be for real, are
that's
you
true.
talking about the guy? You're talking about the guy with the long hair that does the cleans, right?
No,
The
the other
other
guy.
one, the other guy that
I
wears
played
like the
like the
beanie. He wears that
yes,
like he wears
yeah, I
that
love that
he
guy.
wears. Okay, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah.
he walked down on stage. I was just like, that guy looks so cool. And then they just played, and like I just did not expect whatever was gonna come. I remember when we saw them. That was
That's
the
when we
first time they
met.
were
Yeah,
in the
that's
US.
I think
Yeah,
that's when we met pretty much,
yeah,
or pretty close to that. Because I remember
yeah,
going to that show and I was just like floored by. We were all floored by Loathe. We
yeah.
were just like that again. Can't recommend that band enough. I feel like
Hmm.
Loathe. If you want to come on, I know we're all in quarantine right now. So if you want to come on a channel, that'd be sick. But yeah, I do remember that. That was such a. They're nuts live. I love
Yeah.
seeing them.
Um, so we would both be playing guitar.
Okay,
Um,
vibing.
bass. Bass and drums are tough for me. I sing vocalist. Oh, this is so much.
This is a lot. I'm feeling it though. I know you're
Yeah.
coming. I know the gears are turning. I can see it. Smoke's coming out of your ears. You're thinking.
Um, I would like. Um, I'm gonna have Josh Groban sing. Um,
Very interesting. Okay,
yeah, he's a
that is a
yeah,
curveball if I've ever seen it.
he's a great vocalist
Yes.
in
Okay.
general. I also grew up doing like theater and choir, so
Okay. Fair.
um,
Fair answer.
uh, that was a very big voice for me growing up. Then so we still need a bass player and a drummer.
Correct.
Um, drummer. Oh. Um, I want the drummer. I guess it would be. I don't know who drummed on that record, and I'll figure it out at some point because I want to. But the Sirens record by Sublime with Rome, uh, which was like the second big record that they put out.
I'll
I
look it
don't.
up while
Oh,
you're
I
coming.
don't think it's the original guy, because I think he left after the first record. If I'm right, but those drums on that record sound huge. That whole record sounds great. Um, I'm trying to think bass players. Like I don't know. You know what? I'll just throw them in there because the bass player of Counterparts because I just like him
Yeah.
as a
Okay.
person.
And
I
then
just like their
what
whole
was the Sublime record, Tyler?
Sirens, I believe.
Sirens. Okay. As you continue to, we're gonna look it
Yeah,
up real quick.
I think the very odd group that I just created, but all people that I enjoy in music.
This is very cool. The drummer is Josh Freeze.
Yeah, so he was the second drummer. Um, I think I
Shouts to
forget what
Josh.
yeah. I love those drums
There
on
we
that
go.
record.
That is quite an
Again, just a
eclectic
very
group.
huge, very huge drum moment on like I think it's the first song. I'm looking it up and I'm gonna put it next to my microphone because I'm sure that won't be annoying.
And it also will not totally get me copyrighted for
Oh yeah, you can't do that. I'm so
yes.
sorry. I won't do that. I apologize.
It's only
I'm
10 seconds, so if you got 10 seconds
okay.
of it, you're good. It's all right. We have under 10 seconds.
Um, I'm sure. Wait, let me. I'm gonna.
You're going
I'm
to
gonna
time it
listen to
out?
it. Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't even know if I could time
Oh,
out 10 seconds.
I'm just gonna play like 2 seconds of it. I just loved, like, just like that, just huge sound is awesome.
Yeah, he has. There's a ton of reverb on that, or it
Yes.
was recorded in like a big room and it just sounds
Hmm.
nasty. Interesting group. I think the Josh Groban thing throws me.
Yeah,
The
I
Josh
just wanted to
Groban.
throw like a weird thing
I
in
just
there.
really want to just see. I just really want to see Josh Groban just say, "Open up this fucking pit." You know. I just feel like.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what I want to see. At the
open
end of
up
my
this
life.
pit.
At the. Yeah, he has to sing it. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like that was the one thing that I want to see before I go into the afterlife. I would want to see Josh Groban say, "I want to open up this fucking pit" or something to that effect. And
I love
a
that.
singing voice or something. I don't, Josh. I don't know if you do that, but it would make my life a real
He's
like
pretty.
blessing.
He's a pretty comedic person from like interviews and stuff I've seen, and like I feel like if someone like paid him enough money,
He
he
would
would
do it.
like go out and do that just to be funny.
I feel
But
like
yeah,
if he just had like a hardcore side project, like he did
yes,
his like
like
regular Josh
like
Groban
Ice
stuff.
T.
Yeah, like Ice T. Yeah, yeah, body count, baby. Love that shit. But the last thing, Tyler, obviously the most important thing. Tell them about you, where they can find you on social media. I know you're doing the monthly thing, so this,
Yeah,
ironically enough, will be coming out in about a month. So
cool.
we'll be able to talk about that.
Um,
But where can people find you at, and where they can listen to your music and stuff?
so that would be where you can find all those things. You can find my music on the instrumentals and just any little thing I put out right now on SoundCloud. I have a DistroKid, I just don't use it right now. But I just don't really want to put these on Spotify and like Apple Music and all those things at the moment.
Fair.
I feel like it's like a waste of putting up for me. I just want to put out like, and especially if I put them under a new name, I don't really want to
Swap
do
them
that.
all over. Yeah. I
Yeah,
got you.
it gets messy.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's where it's on SoundCloud right now, and YouTube. I have a couple of them up, like with videos on YouTube with stock footage. I work really hard on them, so
Did you?
I always write video by me.
Yeah, video by me. I should put that in my
Yeah,
description.
I shot all
Videos
these
that I should-
videos.
Yeah, I shot
I went,
all of this. Thing. Yeah. See the copyright by me. But go check out Tyler's stuff. I will leave links to all of his social media, SoundCloud, where you can listen to his music. I know he's been a big supporter of what I've been doing for such a long time. So
yes,
for me to have him on is really important. And I know he's been working really hard on new tunes. And as you know on the channel, I'm all about supporting my homies and people that make some just awesome music in general. So please go support Tyler. All of the links will be below.
Dope.
If you enjoy this interview, share, like, this, subscribes. Make sure to go tweet at Dirty Heads because you want to hear him on a track. So let's get that audio addiction clout rocking. Twitter is a little bit but we could do it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to tag personally him on Twitter because he doesn't have a Twitter. But if it gets enough of a following, I'll send him the
there we
screenshot.
go. Maybe I'll have one by then.
Maybe I'll have one
Maybe.
by then.
Maybe.
Who knows? We don't know. Maybe. We're not gonna say anything. But go check out his stuff. And like I said, really great supporter of the channel. And thanks again, Tyler, for coming on and doing the chitty
Yeah,
chat
thank
thing.
you, man.